Okay, we are going to make a healthier version of Almond Joy. If you're into that, look at that. And we're going to talk about staying present. Let's do that. Yummy right now. All right, guys, today we're going to talk about staying present. That means staying right in the now. That is my biggest jam, my most favorite thing. And we're going to make some healthy version of Almond Joy. So if you're not into coconut, you're not going to like this, and that's okay. So it might not be for you, but maybe the conversation will be. So let me tell you what we're going to need. It's going to be super easy. You don't have to bake the oven. Don't ever bake the oven. You don't have to turn on the oven. We're going to do all this in the freezer. It's going to take maybe about 15 minutes, maybe at tops to prepare it. And then leave it. You'll see. I'm going to tell you. I'm like trying to get ahead of myself, which goes into the whole staying present. So one of my most favorite things to do with my clients and with myself, and it honestly saved my mental health and it actually saved my life by staying present. And that is to release the ego, release the need to control any narrative, accept that yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. You only have today. That's why it's called the present. And it has just been amazing. Meditation is great for that. Double journaling is okay for that. And we are going to talk about it. So before we start, let's get this set in the freezer, not oven, right? So first we're going to start with about 1 1/4 cup of unsweetened coconut. It's literally spectacular. So I'm going to put this in as I put most of it on the counter. I'm going to put this in my magic bullet or whatever this thingy is. And I did about 1/4 cup of my swerve or any non-sugared, sugar alternative that you want. Okay, see that in here? We are going to take 3 tablespoons of butter, somewhat room temperature. I can't promise you that that's room temperature because I don't always have patience for that. And sometimes I'll put it in the microwave, and it's always like, oh gosh, then it's usually too liquidy and we don't like that. And then we're going to take 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. We're going to need more of this coconut oil though for the chocolate topping because, hello, chocolate topping. We're going to put those 2 things in here. And I'm going to show you guys how to do coconut pulling one day. Coconut pulling every morning is really good. It just helps your whole body. I love the consistency of it. A lot of people don't. We're also going to use almonds because Almond Joys. And we're going to use these lilies to do the topping. But that is pretty much it for the base. We're going to put the lid on it. And we're going to pop this little sucker right on here. And we're going to blend. So you're going to blend it until it gets to be, I'm going to show you what this looks like kind of mushed up, right? So because when I get this together, I can see how I can make it into like little balls. That's just, see, I realized that's up too high, but you can make it into little balls. You really only need to pulse it for a few minutes. And then however big you want those little discs, right? Because the discs are going to be, just like you would an Almond Joy. I'm going to roll them in little balls and flatten them out. And I want them big because I always get angry at the candy in the store when it's Almond Joy because I really love Almond Joy and it's never big enough for me. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these after you just blended it in there, just that little bit of stuff, and you're going to flatten these, make these into little patties, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So in the meantime, let's talk about you staying present. So to stay present really is about 3 seconds of your life at one time can be in the present space. Most people have a hard time staying present because your mind's going to wander. And that's where you go, oh my gosh, I can't meditate because I wander. That's okay. Part of meditation, I have a 15-minute meditation here on YouTube, and I promise I'll do more. But the 15-minute meditation is really good because it's like an active meditation. The kind of meditations I like to do for people who have obsessive thinking and overthinking is to keep them busy. Right? So that's called active meditation, and active meditation is very much my jam because I'm going to tell you right now, staying present in any type of meditation is the key. And once you do it, it becomes a little addictive, which that's fine. I feel like I'm going to make 2 small ones because I say that like I'm going to be like, oh, in case I just want a little bite. 2 small ones just means I'm going to go back twice. That's all that means. So, okay, so we're going to, see, I got them in little patties. Now, let me wash my hands. I'm not gonna lie to you. I made some of these really big. Those will all be mine. And then again, I'm making Almond Joys. So what do we need? We need a little almond. We're gonna put almonds in the middle of this, just like you find in the store. And then what we are gonna, these almost look like little thumbprint cookies. And then what we're going to do is we are going to pop this in the freezer for an hour, right? So, and because you want them to really be frozen, because we're going to melt some chocolate to put over it. It's really such a simple treat, but it gives you that like candy without giving you some of the other unpleasantries that come with it. So I'm going to slide this in the freezer. All right, so now we're going to wait an hour for that. But let me explain to you this whole staying present thing. So when you are going to allow yourself to be in the present space, it's to release control. Control is rooted in your ego, okay? So your ego itself is not bad. It's when you're living in your id part of your ego. So to stay present, I'm going to give you an example, okay? Let's look at this spoon. See this spoon right here? See how it's got coconut oil in it? I just want you to just look at this coconut oil, right? See it? Okay. I'm going to have it go up. I'm going to have it go down. I'm going to have it go this way. I'm going to have it go that way. See it? Okay. You literally just stayed present. Doesn't matter if your mind was somewhere else. You have to realize you didn't get here overnight. You're not going to unget here overnight. Not in any way, shape, or form. So you have to understand that this has been a default that has been programmed into you that you have to worry about yesterday and worry about tomorrow. But what hasn't been programmed is the acceptance that you only have right now today. And that's the imperative piece of that, is to accept and understand that you only have today. So when you're staying in the present space, it's a really good thing to say to yourself, hey, okay, why am I going over here, right? Because some of it's going to be very normal. You go, can I do anything about it? No. Are these things happening right now? No, they could, but they're not happening right now, right? So it's bringing yourself back. And the best way to do that is with your breath. That's grounding. You carry your breath with you everywhere you go. So let me wait for that to get out of the freezer. I'll come back and we'll chit chat more and we'll do the final piece of this and then we'll dive right into it. And it's going to be so yummy. Half a cup of the chocolate chips, 2 tablespoons of the coconut oil, 30 seconds, stir, pull it out, 30 seconds again. Then what you want to do is you're going to let this kind of cool for just like a minute or two. Cool-ish, I should say. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to talk to you more about the staying present thing. A good exercise to do with that is to go outside, put your feet in the ground, right? Doesn't really matter the weather, put your feet in the ground, do your breath work. Remember I said your breath work comes like, it's so amazing because you carry your breath with you everywhere you go. And when you do that, it really holds you in the space. It's okay if your mind wanders. Think about it forming into like a cloud, whatever that thought is, and watching it go out into the horizon. You might have to do it like 100 times. It doesn't really matter. So when this is still melty, like this, see, look at that, look. Oh, it's amazing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these. I like to do it like I'm doing an Easter egg and pop that right down in there, coat it really good. I like a really thick coating. So I like to move it around in there. Look at that. What? So I'm going to do this for these guys. And then what we're going to do is we are going to pop these back in the freezer. And that's actually where you're going to want to store them too, by the way, because this is a chocolate. It's not processed. So it's not like you can just leave it out on the counter because it is something that needs to stay in the refrigerator or the freezer. I'm going to tell you, I actually recommend the freezer just because it holds it a little bit more firm. And then if you want, right before you eat it or whatever, you can pull it out for like a half a minute or so and it should be good. It's really good. It's also another good thing to do with grapes, especially in the summertime. Nice and crispy and crunchy. So we're going to put this in here. So yeah, I want you to start practicing, even when you're cooking like this, staying present, right? So I'm going to give you an example of what that would look like. So I'm going to pick this up, deep breath. I'm going to feel the spoon in my hand. I'm going to feel this cup. I'm going to be present and mindful on what I'm doing. A little not because I'm talking to you, but typically I'd be very present in the mind space with this. I would see the dripping of the chocolate. I would watch it come down here. And that's actually really good. A lot of people who professionally cook, which I am not one, will tell you that they really get lost in their craft. It's kind of like me when I crochet. When I crochet, I really get lost in the time and I think, why is my shoulder bothering me? And I'm like, oh, it's been 6 hours since I've been crocheting. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put, look at that. Yum. So we're going to put these in the freezer for about 15 minutes. I'm going to come back to you. We're going to bite into it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so I'm going to let you see what these look like. I told you I did a lot of chocolate, so I like this little overflow of chocolate. And let me show you. Oh my gosh, look. It is so good. It is just like a Almond Joy. So good. So easy. And like I said, you want to store them in the freezer. My preference, you can still put them in the fridge. I'm just going to put them in a baggie. I might eat them all in one setting. You just don't know. So remember, to stay present isn't to just fight what is going on. To stay present is to also feel your feelings. Stay in the present moment. Don't run from your anxiety. Sit with your anxiety. Staying present is absorbing and feeling the emotions and then releasing what doesn't serve you and keeping what does. So that being said, go make some of these Almond Joy type cookies and let me know what you think.